All I wanted to do was go to the bathroom and use the cooling center.
It was over 90 degrees in the Bronx on primary day. Pastor Dimas Salaberios tells Pix 11 News he'd been outside for hours campaigning for Councilman Fernando Cabrera. To get some relief, he walked inside this polling site nearby, inside the Sedgwick houses, to use the restroom and cool off, but was stopped in his tracks.
And as I was heading to the bathroom, this officer stood in front of my way and he said, you can't use the bathroom.
Apparently, the officer received a complaint from a woman working the polling site.
Let me try to vote. I was just trying to do anything to cool down.
Knowing that this was not his polling site, he says he asked the volunteer to look up his information, also trying to buy time inside, but that did not work.
Do you want to be arrested? I said, man, you know what? Do whatever you're gonna do, man. I just want to get some air. He said, stand up, and I was shocked, but I knew, be quiet, you know, cuff me, took me. After I was cuffed, I thought I would at least be in the cooling place. He marched me out into the sun. It had me stand in 102 degrees for 20 more minutes.
The Board of Elections says the location is not a cooling center. In a statement, a spokesperson said, "It is my understanding that an individual entered the polling site under the false pretense that it was a designated cooling center, which it was not. He did not possess the required poll watcher credentials to remain on site and reportedly acted in a disruptive and belligerent manner toward poll workers, the site coordinator, and the NYPD officer. But we found signs on the door that clearly identified the space as a New York City cooling center." The pastor says he felt devastated but remained calm the entire time. But sources tell a different story, that the pastor was allegedly irate and refused to leave when he was asked by the officer. In a statement, a spokesperson for the NYPD said the individual became disorderly and was asked by poll workers to leave the location, but refused to do so.
There was not a moment in time I was an agitator. I was just trying to stay healthy.
Pastor Dimas was taken to Bronx Care, but he says the treatment there was even worse.
They let me sit there for 2 hours handcuffed.
The pastor is well known in the community and across the country for delivering uplifting words. He's also a filmmaker. After several calls were made on his behalf, a police officer confirmed his identity. And Pastor Dimas says an officer came over and said, "Don't worry,
everything is fine. It's all voided out. We're going to just void everything." And I wasn't stupid. I said, it's voided because you have no charge.
Nicole Johnson, Pix 11 News.